So this week you're working on a class website, and I've used Weebly, which is super easy to use. My favorite thing to use is Google Sites. Use the new Google Sites. Don't use the classic one. The classic one is not easy to use. The new one is super easy to use. So those are the two I've used to create websites. I think it used to be you had to be a website designer to do it. My school uses EdLeo, and I'm not super crazy with the website design because it's still cumbersome. It doesn't use widgets, where you can just kind of drop things in live to it. But Google Sites, very easy to use, and Weebly also does, and there's a free version of it. So I recommend both those, but there's a couple other ones you can play with this week. But why? Why a class website? What's the point of it? Because they are some work. So why would you even want to spend that much time doing something like that? So I made a little Prezi, and I showed you a little other video on how to do stuff on it. So when we're thinking about the 21st century, we're thinking about, those 4 C's, that creativity. And these are things you want to be doing too, not just for you, but for the kids. That ability to put their work on. Critical thinking. How do you solve a problem when you don't know the answer? If you've got things that they can find, or they weren't there one day, they can find their own work or what they missed. That's critical thinking. That helps them. Communication and being able to collaborate. So those are 4 ways that using a website can help you with those 4 C's and help your kids with those 4 C's. So one of the ways that it helps kids that, I always had to fill out what we did in class for kids that maybe have ADHD and couldn't write in the planner for themselves. If I was putting those things on our calendar, that was already done, and it was not only for my kids that had special needs, but it was done for everybody. I could put up graphic organizers that would help my kids with special needs, but it would also help my other kids. So it meets those kids that have an IEP or a 504 plan. Very easy to show that you've done it and you've met those requirements. Helps parents understand what is expected, but also helps everybody else too. But it's an easy way to meet those requirements. You're creating an archive of what you've done in the class, and your plan book doesn't cut it anymore. That piece of paper or that binder is not going to be enough anymore. And just don't think about paper ways to keep things of those lesson plans. You need to keep video clips that you really like, or audio clips. Clips of the kids reading are a great way to show improvement of how their fluency in reading. Student created materials that, a digital portfolio that parents can look at, and interviews of kids interviewing people, or you interviewing the children are wonderful things to include. It's a teaching website, so a flipped classroom, and that's one of the things that we'll talk about at the end of this class, but it also gives you timelines and rubrics, not just for you, not just for the kids, but for the parents too. So it's a great source for everyone to be able to get things that they need. It's way easier than you think it's going to be. It used to be that you had to be a web designer to do this. You don't have to be anymore. You can attach documents right from your drive onto your Google site. Super easy to do. You can attach your Google Calendar to your site. You don't have to send paper copies home anymore. So easy peasy, way easier than you think it's going to be. Just give it a try. There are parents that really want to know every single little thing, and they're like, oh, she's not communicating with me, she doesn't tell me what's going on. This is a very easy way to get those people off your back. I had a parent once that said, oh, she never tells me the grades, and I had a folder that went home every week, and the parent signed with the grades and had their signature and the date. And the principal, when I was teaching, said, how much more communication do you want her to do with you? She does this every week. If you have something every day on there that keeps people informed with deadlines and examples, there's no way they can say they didn't know what was going on in your classroom. It's a great way to show off not only what you're doing, because you're working hard, but what your kids are doing. You're so proud of the work that your babies are doing and the things that they're accomplishing. Let them show off a little bit and put their great projects up for the world to see. Parents many times will give you permission to post pictures of their kids or their kids' work. And it's a great way. Their grandparents can see it. Their aunts and uncles can see it. It's just a nice way to let them shine and show off what they can do. Open communication. There's wonderful ways that you can allow people to post comments or respond to prompts, ask questions. This is a way that, you know, and it doesn't mean that you have to go to that website all the time and check it, because who has time for that? If someone posts a comment or a question, it can go right to your email. And you can just respond right from your phone or your regular email, which makes it very easy. If you had to go back to the website and look, you're never going to have time for that. But very easy to connect it right to your email, and then you've got time to do that. Or you could have it go to a class email and have the kids responsible for responding to some of those questions, which would, for older kids, be kind of a cool like weekly job for somebody. It can be the new collaborative classroom for you. So instead of that file cabinet that you have in the back of your classroom, it's where you can share things with other teachers. You build your foundation and change it every year and experiment. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect the first year. Maybe it's just a simple shell the first year, and the next year you add to it and you add more things to it. But think about ways to show off what you're doing and keep your things in one area, because that website's not going to go away. It's just your new place to store things that are worth putting there. And when you don't want it anymore, you delete that part of it. So thinking outside the box, that's why you want to use a class website. And some of the great reasons why you want to try it out and give it a try. So this is week 2. And if you have any questions, let me know.